Hello, my name is Kathy, and today I'll be continuing the talk on feng shui. Today, we'll be continuing to learn about how to handle problems with the basic shape of your home. But before I do this, I wanted to let you know that because I have a great many videos now on many different topics, that I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. When learning the principles of feng shui, I like to approach this subject as if the knowledge were placed on an ever-descending spiral that moves ever deeper into the understanding of feng shui. First, we explore what qi is and the different types of qi. Then we moved around the spiral of knowledge again at a deeper level and explored the concepts of yin and yang, and then we moved on to a discussion of the 5 elements and the 3 cycles and the 9-star system and your lucky stars and the fortune of your door, and the study of the bagua and the 2 diagnostic methods, and the effects of clutter, difficult door and window placements, and today we will be discussing how to handle problems associated with the shape of your home. Your home breathes like a living body does. Its breath is qi, and it comes in and out of your space through the doors and windows, and it flows like a river of life through the corridors and rooms of your home. When your living space has irregularities of architectural design, you can have corresponding issues in your life. We will explore some possible irregularities and methods of treating these problems using mirrors, plants, screens, and colors. I will now continue to discuss the 5-element diagnostic method that you can use to balance the energy of your space with colors, regardless of your birth star or lucky star. When a space is shaped irregularly, an element will correspondingly become exaggerated or depressed. If you carefully examine your floor plan, you will be able to tell an exaggerated or depressed area by its relative size to the main area of your space. The main area of the space is always larger than the exaggerated or depressed area. An exaggerated area protrudes from the main area like an annex, and a depressed area indents the main areas. Do not confuse the main area with an exaggerated or depressed area. An exaggerated or depressed area is never really more than 1/3 the size of the main area. In this figure, you will notice that the corners of the diagram point to the northeast, southeast, southwest, and northwest. If the corners of your home don't point in these directions, but instead point towards other directions, the irregularities in the shape of your home will not exactly resemble those that we will be discussing further into this video. This, however, does not change any of the indications or remedies. Study this section carefully to find out how it applies to your space. We have already discussed how exaggerated and depressed areas of your home affect your health and have touched on some of the ways these irregularities affect your life. And today, we will be looking at your space using the 8-point diagnostic method, and you will be able to see which areas of your life are being deeply affected by the exaggerated or depressed areas of your home. And then we'll look at a few examples to understand different methods of handling these irregular space situations. As an example, if the career area is exaggerated as shown in this diagram, your professional affairs will tend to become congested or overly complicated and demand the lion's share of your time, keeping you away from your home too much. In this example, we find the career area is depressed. So in this instance, your professional affairs will tend to be hampered by difficult conditions, as well as by your own confusion and inability to move around obstacles. In this example, you can see that the knowledge area is exaggerated. In this case, you might find your increased knowledge has led you to neglect other important areas of your life. You may also find out too late that much of what you learn is of little or any use to you at all. On the other hand, if the knowledge area is depressed, as in this diagram, you will have to struggle against limitations to get information you need, or a blind spot could develop in the way you understand your world. In this example, we find that the family area is exaggerated. This will indicate that family affairs will tend to become overcomplicated and demand an excessive amount of your time. This suggests an overbearing relative, possibly outside the nuclear family, who demands too much attention. If the family area is depressed, as in this example, family life will be the occasion for many cares and concerns. A family member may suffer from a long illness or other misfortune that will be very worrisome for you. If the money area is exaggerated as shown in this diagram, you will have big expenses and difficulties holding on to money, or will see your fortunes grow only to become stagnant. If the money area is depressed, as in this diagram, it will be difficult for you to develop your finances. You may also have to pay the expenses of someone else, only to be left short of funds in the end. If the reputation area is exaggerated, as in this diagram, you might develop an extraordinarily high opinion of yourself, while others discredit you. It may also be that many people will come to you asking for advice and help, only to ultimately deplete your chi reserves. If the reputation area is depressed, as in this diagram, you might very well find yourself keeping a low profile and living in obscurity. You might also develop the habit of living vicariously through someone else. If the marriage area is exaggerated, as in this example, your marriage or love relationship may tend to become overly complicated and tense as you pull away from each other, even to the point of separation. If the marriage area is depressed, as in this example, and you are alone, you may find it difficult to get involved with anyone, or, if you are involved, that many obstacles come up and intrude on your relationship. If the children area is exaggerated, as in this diagram, and you have children, you may find them unruly and difficult to understand, or, if you don't have children, you might have a rather childish person in your life who demands too much of your attention. If the children area is depressed, as in this example, conditions around the children will be rather unhappy and wanting in some important respect. You might not be willing to provide them with the needed emotional comfort. If the friends area is exaggerated, as in this example, your involvement with people outside may take you away from home. You could easily complicate your life by becoming involved in the affairs of others. You might also be traveling extensively at the expense of your home life, since the friends point also includes travel. If the friends area is depressed, as in this example, friends could let you down. You might find it unnecessarily difficult to get help when you need it. It either does not come at all, or it comes too late. It will also be difficult to keep travel plans. Let's look at an example of an irregular house shape now using the different diagnostic methods that we have learned so far and how to correct these issues. In this example, we find a woman's apartment, the basic outline of which is shown in the first diagram. She was suffering from ulcers and nervous condition, which showed up in the space by the indented areas pinching the middle of the stick figure, and by the depressed northeast and southwest that correspond to the element earth.
The lady was very lonely. She apparently was unable to form an intimate relationship with anyone, shown by the depressed marriage area. She also seemed to be extremely opinionated, shown by the depressed knowledge area. Her problems with knowledge and marriage had a connection to the element earth, in that she worried excessively and felt very insecure and ungrounded. Some recommendations to help correct this situation and to adjust the chi of the space would be to place mirrors on the walls as shown in the second example, and also to put a yellow, beige, or brown rug on the floor in the middle of the apartment between the two indented areas. The result was that at the same time that this lady was getting help for her poor health issues, we arranged her apartment as I had suggested. The result was that the chi became calm and bright, and because it gave her the sense of safety and security she needed, her nervousness abated and her overall health began to improve. And soon she began to cultivate a more positive outlook on life in general. In this example, we find another lady that was having financial difficulties and lived in an apartment whose basic outline looked like the first diagram. In addition to her financial problems, she suffered from lower back pain, as showed by the indented area. The exaggerated area also shows impeded progress in life, as her legs appear to be stuck there. The depressed marriage area in the west shows that her difficulties in finding a relationship involved emotional blocks and a breakdown of communication, while the exaggerated money area in the south shows that her financial problems were related to her emotional upsets in the past. To remedy this situation, I recommended that she keep the indented walls in the marriage area white and hang round or oval mirrors on them to stimulate metal chi. I also recommended that she use yellow and mirror the inside wall in the money area, as shown in the second diagram. In diagnosing this irregularly shape, we can see that this space was the mirror of her emotional state. Therefore, working on the space itself became an inspiration for her to begin the inner work that she needed to do. In the process of becoming completely reorganizing her apartment along the new lines, she found that she could now resolve the past. She also found that she felt strong enough to look for a better and more interesting job. And with all of these changes, she also found that she developed a renewed interest in her social life. In this example, we find a man living in a home with a basic outline as shown in the first diagram. This man was going through some serious issues with various members of his family, which was causing him a lot of anxiety. This man tended to worry a lot, as shown by the indented area affecting the region of his stomach. The depressed family area in the northwest shows how troubled he was by broken communications with his family members. To remedy his difficulties, I recommended that we use white around the indented area to stimulate metal chi, and since it was not possible to hang a mirror on the more crucial northwest wall, that he at least mirror the wall as shown in the second figure. Once this man became aware of the subtle connection between the condition of his home and his difficulties, he decided to take the initiative simultaneously to rearrange his apartment and restore the communications with his relatives, with whom he so much wanted to be at peace.
Now look at your own living space and use the different diagnostic methods we've learned and analyze your own space. First as a whole, then look at each room individually and see if there are any irregularities of shape present. If you were to draw a stick figure with a head at the door and fill out the whole space with the stick body, where do the irregularities of shape affect you? In which compass directions do you find them? Which of the 8 points do they affect? Next, synthesize the information you get from the compass directions and their corresponding elements with the 8 points. What does all of this information say about your present living circumstance? Next, study the treatments for the different problems already discussed in these videos and choose the cures that relate to the problems you find in your own space. I have a great many videos now on many different topics, and so I've decided to make several different video playlists so that it's easier to find the videos of greatest interest. So please check out my playlist page. Well, that's it for now. To stay up to date with my latest videos, make sure to subscribe to this free YouTube channel by clicking the red subscribe button right below this video. Take care.